So sometimes when we're in business, and we run our own businesses anyway, you hit a brick wall or circumstances happen and they're just unforeseeable. You don't expect them to happen, or there's a build-up of some sort, and just you feel like everything's going to come crashing to the ground. And we all feel it, right? We're all sometimes in that, process of, they've got a momentum, we're building up things, and then, someone throws a curveball at you or something just happens. And undeniably, we will go through that process of scatter. What do we do? What are we meant to do? How are we meant to process this? How are we meant to keep continuing on with that momentum that we've been building? We don't want our whole businesses to come crashing to the ground. Just so, and we rethink our priorities, and we think, this is one direction, we're going to go this way, or do we go that way? Personal, private, business, clients, all these things just start coming through our minds. And so this video today is to sort of touch on that, because we all go through it, and our business, or I'm personally taking on something at the moment, but I wanted to recognize it, because keeping consistent is important, but how we keep consistent is another thing. And that consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean how often either, in the sense. It just means to still keep present. How you keep present and how often you keep present is just a whole different thing. And the way I believe it to be is just communicating, making sure that we communicate what's happening. We don't have to tell everyone everything that's happening, probably on that private level, because it's private, but maybe it does come down to actually communicating to your clients, to your community, whatever, that you might not be as present, but you're still around in a sense, or here's a different way that you're going to be present to those around you and your clients and so forth. So I did want to share in this video just 3 little things that I feel could help anyone who's going through something like this, where they feel like they just can't be as present as normal due to circumstances, and they just need to pull away a little bit. And sometimes it could just be simply there's this overwhelm of so much going on that they need to have that moment of coming back, bringing everything back to the core, and just going, okay, let's revisit everything and revise. So whilst we still want to try and keep that consistency there, we can still keep that communication. We might not be as frequent though, and that's fine, as long as our clients are aware of what's going on, or as long as our community is aware of what's going on, to the degree that they need to know, obviously. So the first thing I just wanted to share was, the first thing is that trust. It's like people know when they hear from you, or one little message, and they understand, okay, this is how it's going to change for a short period of time, they're aware. They're like, okay, that's fine. And a lot of people will understand. If you cannot be available as often for a period of time, they'll understand, because they're aware of what's going to be happening over the coming weeks, whatever it is. They don't necessarily have to know why, but they can understand that this is how it's going to change slightly for a period of time. And when people are aware of that kind of stuff, they'll accept it a bit more. And that trust level does actually go up a little bit more too, because that transparency is there rather than the disappearance. So that's one element I wanted to mention. And then the second one is, I guess, going down the path of how can you personally be present in a situation where you just don't feel it? And hey, it's understandable. You might just check in like I am today with a simple, quick video. It could be something where you ask if you have a team, or if you have people that are in your circle, your network. And that's something that I did, where I have a network of people that know me in my network. And I mentioned, this is what's happening at the moment. So, if anyone mentions anything, or is, curious or whatever, please just pass on that I'm just going to be offline for a little bit. But that kind of communication can help through those channels. There's other channels where you might have someone in your team who could possibly assist you. It could be setting up automations in your email. Obviously, we're all aware of that. It could be reusing content, and just spend 5 minutes if you can, or if you have like an evening where it's like, okay, it's now nice and quiet, it's past the day's activities, where I just, couldn't do any work, but it's the evening, I could possibly for 5 minutes just repost some things or whatever. Send out a quick short message, record yourself a short little video or something like that, like I am right now. But reusing assets is a huge thing, right? Just reusing what you have and utilizing the network you have, the connections you have of people that you trust and that you know that will not only just mention your name in a room, but will also mention that you are still around in a room if anyone is curious. And the third one is really just being kind to yourself and realizing that you can still be around. You don't have to perfectly be around with, perfectly edited long form videos or, your daily posts or anything like that. It's okay. And I know a lot of us will go through that process of, shoot, the algorithm's going to change or something like that, but it won't be that detrimental. And life is life. And I think what it comes down to in the end is just being kinder to yourself, realizing that if you're, people are aware that you're around still, that you're coming back. People are aware that, the support system's still there. There are people there to sort of help along the way. If you've got a team, your team's still there to support and all that sort of stuff. People will be patient, especially when they know that, there'll be another check-in. There'll be a time where, everything's going to come back to normal again and the frequency's going to go up again and all that sort of stuff. There will be a time. So, just be kind to yourself and go through whatever you need to go through personally, and just check in. I think, you're building a community that trusts you and so forth. So I think the most important thing to take away from this whole video is just checking in, and whether it's checking in from you personally or via another channel, which is someone in your network or in your team or whatever, that's the most important thing. Just a simple little check-in, things are going okay, we'll see you soon, we'll check in a week's time, whatever. And then people are aware and they're like, okay, cool, there's a situation, no worries. But I do want to mention too that I understand there are people out there that could be, coaches, and they have clients, and, those clients might be depending on them for something and they might not have a team. So I just want to suggest that there's other ways as well, that I mentioned at the top of this video, where you can actually support those people without being present necessarily. And whilst, your clients will understand you're not around, you can still offer some support if you feel like you have the energy to do so. And if you do, it could be something as simple as, sending an email of some sort, or recording just a quick recording rather than having a Zoom session or, live one-to-one session. There's other ways that you can deliver on that information so they can continue their progress, and it might, remove that guilt you might be experiencing. You don't have to feel guilt either. That's another thing. Like, don't feel guilty. It's just about communicating. That's all it does come down to. So there's so many other ways that you can communicate with your clients to make sure that they're still progressing, and checking in. It could be just as simple, how you're going with everything. I might not be able to review all your results so far, but hey, just send it through. It's great inspiration for me to see your progress, and I'll see you when I return back into, full norm soon. So there's those sort of things that you can think about too, especially if you're a coach in this situation. If you're someone who's running a community and you've got a number of members relying on you to check in and so forth, well, hey, you might actually have someone in your community that's a huge advocate, or someone who's a great spokesperson for, your brand, your membership and so forth. And you might ask them, would they mind stepping in just for that week and running a session or something like that in place for you because your presence isn't there. So there's those kind of, channels as well that you can utilize. And as I mentioned, where you might have a network of people, you could utilize them as well. You might have someone that you've collaborated with previously and just ask them, or if you don't, or you don't feel comfortable asking anyone at a short notice or something like that, reuse content, or just put a notice up and say, we won't be running it this week, we do apologize, but we'll be back again soon. People understand life is life. So don't be hard on yourself. Just remember it's okay to take a rest, take time out, and be kind to yourself. It's okay. And everything that you've worked hard for will continue to grow. Just communicate and just check in with those that might be relying on you, or, that communication anyway from you. So, yep, short video today, and I'll see you next week in another video. Hope you're all well, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.